Back in 2019, we got a standard model from Herpa Wings of a 7879 in the then new standard livery of Gulf Air. In 2020, we then got this Herpa Wings Club model of a 789 in the retro livery of the airline. Herpa Wings Club, of course, means additional detailing, so is the model any good? We find out right after the drop. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today, as mentioned, will take a closer look at a Boeing 787-9 of Gulf Air. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and at the top of the box we have the Gulf Air branding. And then on the back side of the box we unfortunately have another cutout. I really do not like this box design. It is not protective of the aircraft model and it looks really cheap and very disappointing for a Herpa Wings Club model where Herpa supposedly is putting extra effort into things. Clearly not here. So the only thing of interest we can see here is simply the fact that it is a Wings Club model and that it is a limited edition. And before we get too far into today's review, it is worth mentioning that this aircraft model does come with a stand. And here she is, the Boeing 787-9, the Dreamliner in the retro livery of Gulf Air, celebrating the 70th anniversary of the airline. And over the 70 years, the history of the airline has actually had some quite interesting facts. One of them, for example, being that Gulf Air at some point actually was the flag carrier of the Kingdom of Bahrain, the State of Kuwait, the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, and the Sultanate of Oman. A little bit like an Middle Eastern Scandinavian Airlines. But enough said about the history of the airline for now. Let's focus on the aircraft model itself, and we start off with the tail section where we have the Gulf Air branding on the vertical stabilizer. We do also have a little bit of detailing on the horizontal stabilizers. On the fuselage we then find the 70th anniversary logo. We also have the full registration code of the aircraft, the flag of Bahrain, the logo promoting the Formula 1 race of Bahrain. We also have the company slogan, Golden Falcon, and underneath that we have another little logo. Unfortunately, I am not quite sure what that's about. If you know, then feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And then at the very tail of the aircraft we also have a little bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then have the writing of Gulf Air both in English and Arabic. We also have loads of small printed details. For example, here when we look at the cabin doors, that's some great effort here from Herpa Wings, and some more great effort we also find on top of the fuselage where we have the SAT dome added as well. The cockpit section itself then gives us the standard detailing we are used to from Herpa Wings for the 787. We get the cockpit windows with the window wipers, the marking around the radome, and above the cockpit windows we have the emergency hatch. Then we have the engine nacelles. They have been kept in all white, just as most of the fuselage, but they do have some lovely printed detailing. We have the silver leading edge, of course, but we also have some markings warning, for example, about jet blast. That's awesome. That should be standard with Herpa Wings every single time, to be honest. The physical detailing of the engines is also very nice. They've done a great job with the chevron nozzles, and also when we look into the engines from the front we can very nicely see the engine fan blades. Then we should move on to the wings to take a closer look at them, starting off with the top side where we have the different flaps, slats and spoilers carved out, although that could definitely be more pronounced. We then also have the markings as to where to walk on the wings, but also here I think we have seen more detailing on Dreamliners before, so maybe a little bit disappointing for a Herpa Wings Club model. The underside of the wings, the same story here. Here we at least then find the full registration code of the aircraft, but what is really nice on the wings, it's the fact that Herpa has added the landing lights. A simple little printed detail, but adds so much life to an aircraft. What also looks nice, and what Herpa actually does rather well on pretty much all Dreamliners, are the ram air intakes, which I think they do a decent job with. And then we should move on to the landing gear and taking a look at it here. This is the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all their Dreamliners, but that's not a bad thing in this case, because overall I think actually the Dreamliner landing gear Herpa has is pretty good. And also the front landing gear finally has a little bit of printed details, something I'm of course very happy about. And then we have this printed detail here on the belly of the aircraft, the writing of Gulf Air, and yes, it has been destroyed by this hole in the fuselage for a stand, which in this case is included, but I would still much rather just have the printed detailing instead of this nonsense. And then last but not least, we also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here in the backside of the aircraft and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 787-9 in the retro livery of Gulf Air, celebrating the 70th anniversary of the airline from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, overall I think it is a great model from Herpa Wings. It has loads of nice printed details, and this should really be the standard not just for Herpa Wings Club models, but across all models from Herpa Wings in scale 500. Also, the aircraft model isn't dragged down by the usual Herpa nonsense, except maybe for the hole in the fuselage, although this time they actually added the stand, which of course is good, although I would probably just have preferred not to have the hole and then just being able to enjoy the print on the belly of the aircraft on an impaled. Ultimately, this should be the standard for Herpa Wings, not just for Wings Club models, but across all the aircraft in scale 500. This should not be the highlight or the best that Herpa can offer, but the bare minimum that Herpa can offer. But at the moment, this is really the best they can do, and for that reason I would say yes, it is worth having in one's collection. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.